Yo, 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 what's happening, people? Welcome to Neeks Sports. I'm back with a preview for Arsenal versus Leeds. Yeah, let's get let's get straight into it. Boy, been a been a tough last game for Arsenal. Um, Obviously losing comfortably at home to Aston Villa, something that we never really wanted to do. Um, of course, we went into that game trying to get a win, going into the international break, but we failed to do it convincingly. Um, Tough game. It's a tough game we had against Aston Villa. We got outclassed and outplayed quite easily. We got opened up quite easily. A lot of the squad from back to front played horrible in that game. And it's something that we've got to address, something that Mikel Arteta's got to address going into Leeds, who could play something very, very similar. Like I won't be massively surprised to see um, a similar sort of approach from Leeds as Aston Villa had. So we need to be very wary that Leeds are going to be coming at us in that sort of way, and we need to react. We need to bounce back essentially from that poor game. And this may or may not be the best game to do it because, as I said, they're going to be similar. They're going to be players playing in similar sort of position, trying to get into opportunities as we had against Villa. So yeah, man, it's gonna be a tough game. But yeah, we'll get straight into it. It's obviously been a very interesting international break for those of you that have been keeping up to date with what's been happening at Arsenal. You may or may not have seen um, what they call these days a training ground bust up, which was reported late on in this international break, along with all the other dramas that's been happening at Arsenal. As always, never an easy day at the Emirates. But yeah, we it was an interesting. We heard David Ornstein from the Athletic reported that it was a training match that Arsenal had last week. So right at the end, at the start of the international break, we had a little game in training, and it looked like our Ceballos had gone in on a late challenge on David Luiz, and David Luiz reacted in a certain way, got up and banged him in his face, essentially, and cut up his nose. Blood was pouring out. Everyone's getting involved, trying to separate man. It was a bit of a yeah, a bit of a drama, something that I didn't really expect to see. Something that's happened before. Those of you who remember Arsenal played Fulham first game of the season, and it looked like he went in quite hard on Nketiah. It was Nketiah. Yeah, Danny Ceballos went in with Nketiah during the training at the start of the match. And Nketiah reacted like he wanted to bang him in the face as well, but he refrained from it. But this time, it looks like David Luiz got up and actually gave him one. Like said, look, hey, it's the last minute of the game, it's a training ground. Don't come in hard against me. Bang in the face. Boom. Blood pouring out of everywhere. Now, Danny Ceballos himself has denied that. He's come out and said that it's fake. FAKE was his tweet exactly on Twitter, refuting the David Ornstein report to say that there was a bust up. He said it was fake. And obviously the question was put to Arteta, like, what happened? What going on? Was there a fight? And Arteta kind of said, like, look, I'm gonna look into it. If there was something, there will be reprimands. These things happen, and players do get into arguments and that. And then they said, but did you see it? And he goes, well, I didn't see it. I didn't have from where I was standing, I couldn't see anything. I mean, if someone gets banged in the face and all the players are crowding around, I expect someone to see it. So it sounds to me like something happened, maybe not as big as it was being reported by Ornstein. People are some, I don't think it may have been as blown out as it was made to be. Especially with if Tobias comes out and said it was fake boldly, then maybe it was a little bit of a scuffle. Because I mean, you might just stay quiet if it actually happened. But Arteta said he will speak to both players and deal with it. It seems to have happened before. But listen, he played down the whole Guendouzi thing. He played down the Özil thing. He played down Socrates had an issue, maybe in with Guendouzi and Debas, and he's played them all down. But he showed his proof was in the pudding in his lineups. You know, Özil ain't been in the lineup, obviously not in the squad. He's still even now trying to play it down, saying footballing decisions. Guendouzi after Brighton game played that down. You know, these things happen, and boom, we ain't seen Guendouzi since. Socrates had a bust up. You know, rare tear tear. Ain't seen Socrates since. So, you know, he can play these things down, but the reality is, if you don't want to pick him, it seems like he's bold enough to say, you know what, you lot have had an argument, you lot have had a fight. I'm not having it. You know, I don't want you in the squad, and he's kicking man out. So, very, very interesting to see what happens with Arteta's lineup. And listen, if we have no David Luiz and Danny Ceballos in the lineup this weekend, for me, there's been a bust up. There's been a swingers. Someone's got punched in the face, and someone's got angry, and that's what I think has probably happened. But we'll see what happens. You know, obviously, I don't want us to be, I don't want us to be swinging out because what I don't see this on the pitch. I don't see Danny Ceballos going in, getting yellow cards, taking out man. I don't see man reacting and trying to fight and back fight other man. Not that I want to see swinging, but you know, I don't really see much happening. So where's this fight on the pitch that I'm seeing in training? I'm hearing about in training that I'm not really seeing on the pitch. Now, don't get me wrong, we've had good performances, but it's not been aggressive. We've not gone and like bullied other teams where we have a team now that is more capable and maybe more set up to have that edge to it. We're seeing it in training, but not really on the pitch. That baffles me. So get the energy on the pitch. When you lose 3-0 to Villa, where's that fight? Where's that fight from the players on that pitch? Oh, all right, Danny Ceballos was probably one of our better players when he came on, but still, there was no aggression in that sort of game that I'm hearing about in the training field. So if that's what's gone on, let me see it on the pitch. But yeah, I don't really know what's actually happened. Arteta's kind of skated around it, so we'll see. We'll see what happens with that one going forward. And then we had the news that Thomas Partey was injured. Well, he came off obviously at halftime against Aston Villa. Apparently, Arteta now saying he struggled early on with a knock and he continued to halftime. Wasn't really himself, and they had to take him off. It was a thigh injury, and they didn't want to risk him for the second half. He had come out, I think, earlier on in the international break, saying that he's hopeful that he'll be back and playing, but it seemed like the injury is too much and he's not going to be able to make the starting lineup, unfortunately. And yeah, we've confirmed, well, Arsenal have confirmed today that uh, Thomas Partey will not be playing any part in the Leeds United match, and that is a massive, massive blow. Thomas Partey is a huge part of, going to be a huge part of our midfield going forward, and has been so far this season. You know, we've seen it against Man United, we've seen it in other games in Europa League, but unfortunately, yeah, he's not going to take any part in today's game, in Sunday's game against Leeds. He will miss it, and we will miss him. He's going to be a big presence missing in the midfield. Good player, as we know what he brings into the side, but we've got to go back to basics. You know, we didn't have him last year, so we've got to go back to maybe a midfield more similar to how we played last year. And I wonder whether that may give Arteta a bit of a solution of formation to go with for the game, and we'll get into that a little bit later. But yes, Arsenal confirmed that Partey will not have any part to play against Leeds, and that follows. Uh, an positive test for coronavirus for Mohamed El Neni. So the midfield pair that we saw against Aston Villa, which didn't work in that game, the midfield pair that we saw against Manchester United, which did work in that game, will not be playing against Leeds United. El Neni, who a lot of us will be surprised that he's in the squad, especially after being loaned to Turkey last year, but has proved himself to be a good part of the squad and he's been a good player this season. Let's not skate around that. But for me, I don't know whether he will be the guy going forward. So, you know, him not being able to play today gives other man a chance. Um, Obviously, we heard earlier on in the international break that Salah went to a wedding, caught coronavirus, whether it was from there or not. caught coronavirus and brought it, and obviously was in the international squad. Mohamed El Neni, who they are very close friends, probably in very similar proximity, also caught coronavirus and got a positive test. Um, we heard yesterday from the Egypt FA that they've been privately flown back, so they are in this country now. But it doesn't look like either of them will be involved after both getting third tests also being positive. I'm sure Arsenal will carry out their own tests, but yeah, it doesn't look like El Neni will be back this week for Sunday. Yeah, this coronavirus thing is wiping man out. And Kolasinac, another one. We found out that Kolasinac tested positive for coronavirus for COVID-19, so he would also be out for the next couple of weeks. He only got it very recently towards the end of the international break. So although we probably wouldn't have seen him start against Leeds, he won't be playing in any of the next. Well, maybe back for the next Europa League is in 2 games time, but he definitely won't be playing next week in Europa League. So a big blow for that position there. But we've got players come back from injury in that position, so we should be all right in that respect. El Nani, maybe the big one. Maybe he would have been part of Arteta's plans this weekend or next weekend. So hopefully we'll get him back soon. Give him an option, but he's got to go with what he's got now. And as I said, this will be similar to what we had last season. A lot of people were calling for a bit of a change in the games that we play against the smaller sides, and we're forced to do that now. We're forced to, with no Partey, no one any. We're forced to make some changes to the 11. And then we had there was a madness of Aubameyang. He'd obviously been away with Gabon, and they had a problems with the airport, and they apparently were sleeping on floors because they couldn't get the flight, so they stayed overnight in the airport on the floor, like bags rested up. Not obviously good preparation going into this weekend, but a learning curve, as Arteta called it to Aubameyang, that these things happen. You probably haven't done this for a little while. You ain't slept on the floor in a while, but it happens, innit? Back in the old days when you had to travel and sometimes you miss a flight or rare tear, you might have to sleep in the airport. I don't think it's going to be a massive problem. It's annoying. It's probably more worrying about COVID due to staying overnight in the airport. You're probably more worried about COVID, but he's got a negative test, so he is available to play, and I'm sure he'll start and he'll be fine. I don't want to hear no excuses about him sleeping on the airport as to him not playing well against Leeds United. And whilst we're on Aubameyang, there's obviously going to be mad debate, and we'll get into the team news in a second, but there's going to be mad debate about whether he can play left wing, whether he's going to play up front. The reality is he hasn't had a good season, and people are making excuses for him. He hasn't had the chances. He's playing out wide and but he was doing it last year and he was working. This year he's not playing. He's not playing well enough. He's not creating chances to score goals. He isn't threatening defenses. Now maybe that does mean that he should maybe play some games up front. Maybe that's the case, and maybe that will happen. I don't think it will happen necessarily this week, but it may be something happen going forward. Definitely in the second half against Aston Villa, his runs were going towards the middle, so there would have been something said at half time to Aubameyang. Look, you're playing left, that left, but cut in and make the runs inside. Let Saka come outside and you go inside, and that was happening a lot more. Granted, nothing came to him at all. So I think there's a worry in that aspect of how do you get the best out of Aubameyang? Is it on the left? Is it up top? Is it like a left forward? Is it maybe a two up top? There's still this debate rages on about Aubameyang's positioning. Listen, he just needs to get on the pitch and get back to scoring goals as he does, and I'm hopeful that Arteta just plays him in the right position and that he can get the goals for Arsenal, of course. So there's the Aubameyang debate. Willian, we had the whole thing about he had the picture with like Mr. Salt Bay guy. He had a picture of him during the international break. He's since then taken a COVID test and tested negative and has been in training. Arteta has warned him about his conduct going forward. So I think it's that international break where you kind of get let to go out of your bubble without actually going out of your bubble, if that makes sense. So you've got the freedom to go and do what you want. And it seems that obviously some players are like Salah going to weddings, like Willian taking pictures with people you shouldn't really be doing you man, keep it on the down low if you're going to do that. But ultimately, safety of everyone's is the most important, and I think Willian's just basically been reminded of that, and as all the squad will. This thing ain't easy, this COVID thing, but we got to adjust to it, innit? We got to make sure that we don't bring it in the camp, because if we do, we may see some bigger players getting COVID and missing out of games, and we don't really want that. So yeah, he tests negative, so he's back in training in the squad. Willian. Anyway, back to the game against Leeds United this weekend. And obviously, I've brought you some of the team news already. Partey and El Neni won't be playing. Kolasinac as well. There was updates on Mari. He's back in training, light training. He's progressing very well, and Arteta's quite happy with him. Somewhat of a forgotten man, Pablo Mari. You know, obviously we brought in Willian and um, Gabriel in the summer, and you know people have not even spoken about Pablo Mari. So he is a centre back. He's available. He's left footed. He may play a part in Arsenal, especially in a busy period. Christmas period coming up. We know there's no international games now till March. So, you know, we may see him play some games over the Christmas period. And the same with Martinelli, another forgotten man. A striker, a man who knows how to score goals. You know, we're a team struggling to score goals. So we are got to see how well he's doing. Apparently, he's working well in training, and hopefully, he'll be back in the squad, training with the squad over the next couple of weeks. So, again, by Christmas, we may see Martinelli back in the squad. Another option to our armory going forward, where we've been quite weak, and that's somewhat of a surprise for our Arsenal team to be weak going forward. But yeah, man like Martinelli coming back will always be good for us. So going into the Leeds game, I think it's going to be end to end. Listen, as I mentioned that before, they're going to play very similar to Aston Villa. They're an attacking team. Bielsa knows exactly what he's doing with the squad, but they are subject to a beating. They lost 4-1 in their past couple of games. There's a lot of people that would have said that they are a squad who are improving, and I agree they are improving. But you know, the latest from their squad is that they've been getting banged. They've been getting banged 4-1, a couple of games in a row, left, right, and centre. So you know they've got to improve a lot under Bielsa defensively, as do Arsenal in both areas. Listen, Arsenal got banged 3-0 comfortably, which means that there's an issue at the back. We scored no goals, so there's an issue up front. But I do feel it's going to be more open against Leeds, and there's going to be chances either end. So we got to make sure we take our chances, and we got to make sure that we're switched on at the back, because if not, Leeds will run through us. And I'm not even saying that to be cruel. I think that Leeds are going to cause us many problems this weekend, especially after what I saw last couple of weeks. I'm not going into this game optimistic at all. These men need to prove to me that they're ready to step up to this game. Even though Leeds are just come up from the Championship, you know they're ballers. They're playing well, and they got people in form like Bamford who can score goals against us. So we need to be very wary that they're a team that's going to come and look to beat us. There's no way Bielsa team will sit back and try and box it in. So may work in our favour. It may not work in our favour. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I'm going to go now into the predicted lineup of the team that I think Arteta will go for this weekend. So obviously tough to predict what exactly he will do, especially after international break. We don't know who's fit coming back for sure. The one position I'm quite sure of is Leno coming back from an international break where his country got battered against Spain. He was not in goal, by the way. Manuel Neuer apparently is the best in Germany, so he was in goal, conceded 6 against Spain, not Leno. So got a good rest, even though training with the squad. I'm putting him to start at starting goal for us. Some might be surprised. Some may would have gone with David Luiz. I've gone with Holding, just because I feel like with that little training ground bust up, I would have actually gone with David Luiz, but him having a fight with Ceballos and obviously allegedly hitting him. I just wonder whether Arteta might drop him for this game and say, you know what, that's not good enough. It's not on. You shouldn't be swinging that man, and I'm not going to start you. I may be wrong, but that's my hunch, and I'm going with Rob Holding. Now, I think we did miss David Luiz in the last game, so us not having David Luiz isn't going to be great for us. But I think Holding should be able to do a good enough job, even though he played very, very poor against Aston Villa. I'm going to go with Gabriel going in as centre back next to him. Listen, the man, if anyone's going to help us get a clean sheet or concede less goals, it's him. He's been the man at the back for us this season so far. And then I'm going to go next to him with Tierney. Now, as you would have seen here, I've got a 3-4-3. I don't see Arteta changing formation just yet, just because Leeds will come at us. So I think he will be quite reserved again in this sort of game. Now, could go for us, could go against us. It's one we've got to watch out for. They're a very good team, Leeds United. So I think he will go caution to the wind for this game. At left midfield or left wing back, I'm going to go Saka. Excellent performances for England in midweek, and I think the man's in form. I don't think you could drop him. I know some will say Maitland-Niles deserves a chance. He does, but not over Saka, in my opinion. The man right now, whether it's left wing back, whether it's centre mid, whether it's left wing, whether it's in number 10, I just think he's got to play. He may be our star man that we have to just play him in these kind of games now, man, because he's the one that's performing on the pitch. He's the one that I'm not disappointed with when he's on the team sheet. So yeah, Saka has to play, and I'm going to go Bellerin to come in as left wing back. Bellerin, who have made his comeback after a couple of years out for Spain, he returned to the Spain squad and played for Spain over the international break. So that was good to see him back. So I'm putting him straight in again, void of confidence, playing for Spain, playing for his country. So I'm going to put him straight into the team. Obviously, no Thomas Partey and no El Neni means we'll definitely be seeing Granit Xhaka in the midfield. A player who worked in the system very well last year, and I think maybe needs a more of a role in this squad. I know we went with El Neni and Partey last week. There could be an argument to say that the Xhaka Partey partnership may work even better. For now, of course, without them two, he has to go in. And again, despite what I said about David Luiz, I'm actually going to put Danny Ceballos in, primarily because I don't think there's many players to choose from. It's really between him and Joe Willock. Now, I don't know if I really trust Joe Willock in a two. Maybe if we go to a 4-3-3 and we go Xhaka, Saka in the middle and Joe Willock, maybe, but I don't know if he's got the defensive tenacity to be able to sit and defend very well. So I'm gonna go with Ceballos in the middle of the park. But yeah, we could very well see Joe Willock. On the left-hand side, contrary to much people's opinion, I'm gonna go with Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. Now, again, a lot of people would be saying that why are you choosing this man at the left wing? He's not a left wing, he's a striker. This is what I think Arteta will do. I think he'll stick with it. I think he'll use him out there to cut in and score goals. I think he trusts it, and I think he'll pursue it. But I'm hoping, even though he's playing there, he will be a lot more like a left forward rather than a left winger, and we'll see him a lot more in the box rather than out the box because that's where his quality lies. But yes, I'm going to put Aubameyang out there on the left. Out on the right, I'm gonna go with Nicolas Pepe, another man who came out in international break with something to say. He come out and said that he thinks he should be playing more. He doesn't like being on the bench. Well, I think he'll get a start, and I think he got to prove it. Willian was poor against Aston Villa, so I think Pepe will get a run out there. And again, listen, if he has a good game, he may be able to keep his place in the team. There's some good games coming up for him to get a run of games in. So I like to see him have a good game, of course. And I think he may just go with Pepe to start. And up top, I'm going to go with England's record under 21 goal scorer, Eddie Nketiah. Another man buoyed with confidence after his goal in midweek for the under 21s. Nketiah up top. Lacazette had another poor game against Aston Villa, and I don't think he should be given a place to start. Now, very much we could see Arteta change from this. He could go with Aubameyang up top. He could go Saka left wing, bringing in Joe Willock into the middle. Maybe a Maitland-Niles. He's got options to do what he wants up there. Some would say Reece Nelson, but I don't think he's ready enough yet to just go straight into the squad. Maybe he is, but I don't think it will be something that Arteta will be doing. So that's the squad that I feel like Arteta will go with. Let me know in the comments. Let me know in the chat what you think. If you think this will be a squad good enough to beat Leeds. Obviously, Eddie Nketiah played under Bielsa with Leeds for about 6 months or so before we recalled him last year. So it'll be interesting if he does get a run out to see how he does play against his former team, essentially. Yes, that's the team I think he'll go with. So getting back to Mikel Arteta, he's got to go and attack the game for me. He's got to go and attack Leeds. He's got to go and try and prove that we can win this game. That we are sort of a team to be reckoned with. But whether he does that or not, we'll wait and see. Here's my prediction. If I'm honest, I think Leeds will be too good for us. I do. I do. I think Leeds will be too good for us. And as Aston Villa were last week, if they're on the front foot and they're attacking us, I think they'll get the better of us. I've got no hope that will be any different to what we was against Aston Villa. I can hope that Aubameyang gets back into form. I can hope that Pepe plays well if he does play. I can hope that Saka has a great game, but I'm not confident. I'm not, and it doesn't bode well because if we do lose this game, we're just falling more and more behind the pecking order in a crazy, crazy season. So I think a win is vital to bounce back. But yeah, I don't think we'll do it. So guys, unfortunately, I'm going for a 2-1 win for Leeds United. I'm predicting a Leeds win at Ellen Road. I think it's the first time we played them since Thierry Henry scored that wonder goal that I was there at the Emirates and he came back after years out at Barcelona and at Red Bull in America, New York Red Bull. He came back and he scored against Leeds with that brilliant curled finish. Hopefully, Aubameyang can do the same. But yeah, that's my prediction, man. I'm predicting Leeds to win 2-1 against Arsenal. Look, guys, let me know what you think. Comment what you think the scores are going to be for this game. Do you think Arsenal will be conservative? Do you think they'll play the same team that I put in? Make sure you get in the chat, let me know. Get in the comments, let me know as well. And yeah, man, we'll see what happens. Look, make sure you smash that like button. I want to thank every single one of you for watching this today. Please, if you're new around here, subscribe to Neeks Sports. We'll be back this week with a podcast, and I'm sure Neeks will have a match review for big game for Man United against West Brom, and you'll definitely hear from me after the Leeds United game. Guys, thanks for watching, and I will see you all very, very soon. Make sure you hit that like button, guys, and I'll see you soon. Thank you.